Hi, and welcome to the Jetmen. My name is Vince Scheidemann, Bird Nerd, and today we are going to discuss a plane that used to be the only game in town. Well, specifically the line of planes used to be the only game in town, the LearJets. And even to this day, when people are referring to a private jet, most people say, oh, you're taking a Lear somewhere, if they're not in the industry. Of course, Lear was the only game in town for a long time in the United States, and then Cessna started to come in and steal a lot of the market share. So that was like late 80s, early 90s, and that's when Lear finally kind of figured out, hey, we better do something or we're going to lose a lot of this market share. And the first redesigned aircraft that they came up with at that point was the Lear 45. Let's get into it. So the Lear 45, in general, when you compare the Lear line to the Cessna line, the Lear lines tend to have better flight performance numbers, and the Cessna lines tend to be more comfortable and more passenger friendly. So along those lines, the Lear 45 compared to, they like to call it a mid. It's, in my opinion, a little bit small for a mid. I would call it like a super light, but we're gonna say it's a mid for the sake of this video. If you're comparing it to like an XL, the cabin height is a lot lower. It's got the flat floor, unlike the XL that has the drop floor, and it's an oval fuselage rather than the typical circle fuselage to give the appearance of a little bit more room. It's also a little bit higher off the ground than the XL is. So the range on them is great. The landing is a little bit, they're not great on contaminated fields. They're not great on really short runways, but they have the range and they have the speed to make up for it. So if I'm looking at the pros, that's definitely one of the pros. If you need to get somewhere fast, it's the plane to get you there. If you need a little bit more room, a little bit more comfort, then maybe it's not the best plane for you. There are a couple of different versions of the Lear 45. There's the Lear 45 XR, which just has a more efficient engine on it. And there's also the Lear 40, which is just a slightly smaller version of it. It can seat only a maximum of 7 passengers, and it doesn't give you the APU option. Hold on a second, guys. If you want more videos from the Jetmen, like and subscribe, please. And make a comment below if you have any questions, or if you want to refute anything that I'm saying, please do. Let's talk about the cost of owning a Lear 45. Lear 45, in comparison to like an XLS, is going to be considerably, probably about 10 to 12% lower of a cost, just because it burns a lot less fuel. Its maintenance costs are a little bit lower, though you cannot find parts as easily as you can on a Cessna because there just aren't that many repair facilities across the United States. But it is reasonably accessible. You're not going to be waiting, a week for parts to come from Europe. So it's going to be a little bit lower, but you might have to, spend a little bit more time getting those pieces together. Have you flown in a Lear 45? Let us know what your experience was in the comments below. In summation, the Lear 45. The pros: it has great flight performance, it is fast, and it is economical. On the con side of it, it's not as luxurious, and you might have some issues finding some parts or maintenance people who can repair it.